Here we're talking about our Smooth Coil Vase project here today. We have it right here in front of us. We're going to start by learning how to build this project first in this video. So you're going to learn how to use a paper template to follow along with your design, how you get started off with the circle tool here, and all that. When you're done watching the next couple of videos, you'll have a piece like this, hopefully, in the very end. Remember, you must include all parts of the vase, which is lip, neck, shoulder, body, and a foot. And don't forget when you're done, to sign the bottom of your work. Let's get started in this video so you can see how to build your own smooth coil vase. Before we begin to even build our smooth coil vase, we've got to make a template. So once you have your sketches done, I'm going to give you a piece of paper like this. You're going to fold it like a hamburger, not a hot dog, and you're going to begin to draw half of your vase on there from your ideas that you planned out. I'm using a Sharpie here to kind of mark out the size I have to help you out with. I'll help you with this, but remember, it's got to at least be a 2-inch wide bottom. That's radius, not diameter, and it's got to be 8 to 10 inches tall. It's up to you. So I sketch it out, get ready to cut the next project out with some scissors. Remember, only cut out the end part piece you need. This part here will become your basic outline you're going to use to measure the bottom of your wet width. The other part of it, which is the silhouette of it, which is the other space, which I'm holding up there, is how you're going to follow along when you build your piece. So I use my tool here to measure the inside radius. When I roll my slab out, as I'm doing here, get the sticks, roll it out, make sure it's 1/4 inch thick or yellow sticks. And then I'm going to take my circle tool and cut out my center part of my piece after I get a nice even slab piece. Don't forget, smooth with that rib, get ready to go with it, and then use the circle tool to cut out the piece you need. Here I am double checking my measurements. Nice frozen image there for you to look at. Make sure it's the right radius size. This gives me the diameter. Take your time. Make sure that circle cut out perfectly. That is the right depth. Double check with my template. The inside part to make sure it fits. Aha, it does. And now I can begin to build my project. Now it is time for coil making. Here I am beginning to roll out the coils. This is going to take some practice. Things to remember when making coils. When you make a bunch of them before you start attaching them. Thickness of your thumb is what you want to go with. I keep checking my thumb. As it says right there, thickness of your thumb. Remember, roll out the clay, squeeze it out first, and then begin to roll it. Don't try to take a big chunk and try to roll it. Now I'm beginning to build my piece. I add a coil on there, measure it, cut it out, double check it, blend the inside first. Once I blend all the inside first, then I work on the outside. The bottom part I can kind of play around a little bit more than I normally can because I'm trying to get my base started. Make sure you have a piece of paper underneath your piece so it won't stick to the turntable. And I work a layer at a time. One layer at a time, always smoothing from the inside and then working on the outside. That is critical. That is crucial. That is important. Just take your time. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth right now, but make sure everything's well blended together and it follows that paper template a layer at a time. I cannot stress that. A layer at a time. You can use a rubber rib to kind of smooth the inside of your piece to kind of check it out to make sure it follows that template. It helps kind of finish up the shape a little more even than just your fingers. Again, I'm constantly checking that paper template to make sure it fits and put layers on. Remember the rules of coil building. If you want something to go a little bit wider, you put a coil outside the previous coil just a little bit. You want to get narrow, put it inside the previous coil. You want to build straight up, you put them right on top of each other. Just slowly keep working on your coil project, again, layer at a time. Notice how I overlap them to measure to make sure the coil fits perfectly. I double check on there, and I begin to blend on the inside, then work my way towards the outside. That is crucial. Always blend down with that thumb on the inside. Big mistakes people run into is start blending on the outside first, not the inside. That causes your piece to get super wide. So always remember to blend the inside. That is crucial. Kids always ask me, how thick should the coils be? Well, there should be, when you blend them on there, because they're the thickness of your thumb, you put the coil on there, you blend them, should be about the thickness of your pointer finger, pinky finger, something like that, which is roughly 1/4 inch is what we're going for. So double check the thickness constantly. If it gets too thin, it will collapse, and then you have to start over. And I don't want to hear you whine about having to start over. So please, 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 double check your thickness, layer at a time, blend and smooth it inside with the rubber rib, constantly double checking everything. It is crucial. Very, very important. I know many of you wish you could build as fast as I can, but I just sped up the film. It takes time, guys. It just takes patience and time to build your piece. And you can watch this video of me creating the Smooth Coil Vase. For the day, or if you don't have time, your hairdryer comes in pretty darn handy. I have a couple in my room to help dry out the bottom of that piece so it does not collapse on you. If the clay stays too wet, it can collapse. Now, remember though, if you're drying out your project a bit, you might have to score and slip that next coil on because you are changing the way the consistency of the clay and all that stuff as well. And I'm just going over a little bit, drying it out so it makes a nice strong piece. So I'm ready to begin building again. Here I am cutting off a little bit of unevenness of the clay so I have a nice even place to start and kind of work the clay around a little bit. That helps. There's nothing wrong with removing a little bit of clay to make sure it stays even. So when you coil build, you have a nice straight even piece. And now as you can see here, I'm putting coils inside previously. The previous coil I'm beginning to start to build inwards. So I want my piece to start going inwards. That's what I'm doing here. A wooden spoon or paddle are your best friends for shaping the piece, so to make sure you have a nice even shape. As we can see here, I've sped up a little bit of my time frame and I'm beginning to build my piece inwards. So coils go inside the previous coil, double checking those measurements. I have a little bit of unevenness, so I go back in, spin my little turntable, take a little measure line, going to get the piece to go inwards, even it up as best I can, use a paddle, a spoon, whatever. And as you can see, I'm putting coils now towards the inside a bit. Now I'm going to begin to start building up. But remember, always blend your coils down, never up. Never, never up. I can blend smooth if I want for shaping, but when I just originally blend those coils down, always blend down. Use the paddle for shaping. Just keep checking, guys. This is just takes some time. Takes work. I wish I could say there's a faster way to do it. If there was, I would have invented it. But there isn't. It just takes practice. Practice working the piece, using a paddle, and all that stuff. Just keep working it. As you can see, as I'm building my piece up, getting closer and closer to my desired shape. Here I'm using a wooden spoon to kind of balloon the piece out on the inside. Not quite fall in the shape I want. If that happens sometimes, I can go back in there with like a wooden spoon, use that round part of it to kind of help develop my shape a bit more. Now once I've done that, I have to go back, trim a little bit off the top to make it even, and I'm kind of just finishing off the top of my piece now. Now I'm kind of building a little bit back out and straight up, just trying to follow that template so it matches fairly well to get the desired shape I need to be. Now I'm working on that neck and that lip of my smooth coil base, as we can see right here. Just take some time working it, blending it, smoothing it, just double checking everything. Patience is the key. Once my piece is built, I'm going to go back over it with a rubber rib and just smooth out all those lines, wrinkles, stuff like that, make the piece nice and smooth. That's why it's called a smooth coil paste. You can use a paddle too from shaping. I take little balls of clay, kind of press them in little seams I can't smooth out, blend them over so my piece is nice and smooth so I can be ready to decorate and come up with my design, which will be the next video we'll get to watch down the road. But right now, just kind of making sure the piece is nice, smooth, ready for the next step. Don't forget, you have to add a foot to your project. A little coil on there to make sure it fits. It does not have to follow your template. You can measure template from where your foot starts, but make sure it's on there. Use a little hair dryer on there to make sure it's nice and firm, nice and even. And once you have it all built, it's time to move on to the next step of designing your project.